What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. It is Wednesday, November 30th. We're a couple days away from the winter meetings. Scott, hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Logan, Ilya, hope you guys did as well. And all the listeners out there, a merry, happy, very holiday season. Joy to the world. What's up, Scott?
What's up? I think Thanksgiving is probably, it's definitely a top two holiday. I enjoy Christmas because of like the whole get my entire family together, the mystique of all of the holiday season for the kids. I think that's fun. But Thanksgiving is up there as far as like, being a man and having a holiday. It's just there's football, there's a lot of turkey. I will say this: it's not stressful, but when you're hosting and you have to cook and you're doing all of the things, you start to resent the food by the time you're ready to eat it. And you're like, okay, I'm going to eat it. It's going to be good, hopefully. But really the next day is when you get to enjoy it. And that was really me. I was sick of looking at the turkey. We did like a whole turkey from a turkey farm, like legit, organic grass fed.
You chop the head off yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Pluck the feathers, nice. did all of those things. So I was very much like, can't screw this one up. It wasn't a cheap turkey either when you go that route. So I was like, can't screw this up.
What's the price per pound?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't.
Is it like $2 a pound, $3 a pound?
Oh, way more than that.
What?
I'm thinking 13, over $10 a pound.
What?
Yeah.
That's the most expensive turkey I've ever heard of in my life. Like an expensive turkey is like $2.99 a pound.
I was supporting a local business. I was supporting
I guess so. You're funding them for the next year. How many pounds was this turkey? Was it like a 20?
It was 13 pounds.
13 pounds.
I paid for 12 though, because they have an inventory of whatever.
So this thing was like $150?
Yeah, it was actually more than that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was.
But you could have catered the whole thing for that.
I will say this: the turkey. How long did it take you to cook your turkey? Ballpark.
I didn't.
Well, how long did it take for the turkey to cook? Anybody chime in on here? Like
I believe it's between like 4 and 5 hours. Yeah.
Okay, 13-pound turkey, hour and a half. Okay. And do you know why? Because when the way that they are bred, no, it's 13 pounds. It's not that small. They
had a 26-pound turkey.
Well, that's ridiculous. That's like
we had a lot of people.
Huge. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, we had a lot of people.
So so yours definitely took more than 4 hours probably then too. But
my uncle cooked it.
The way that it goes down is these turkeys, they build a layer of fat, intermuscular fat that does not exist on any of the turkeys that you get in the grocery store.
You got taken for a ride. This guy's telling you about intermuscular fat charging $10 a pound. You got taken for a ride, my friend.
It bastes the turkey as it cooks. You don't need to brine it. You don't need to do any of those things. Just natural flavors. And it was absolutely delicious. The white meat tasted like dark meat. And that's how I like my turkey.
What did the dark meat taste like?
Even better dark meat.
Logan, you put in the chat your family has 2 turkeys?
Yeah, we do one in the oven, and then they also deep fry one. I'd love to take some credit, but I just watch. I don't do anything.
How many people are at your Thanksgiving?
Not that many. I think we were like 12 this year.
So you just we have the 2 different
and we have
ham.
Turkey. We just have a lot of food.
And ham. Jeez.
Ham's better than turkey. That's not even controversial at this point.
Turkey, I feel like turkey's been getting a bad rap the last couple of years. People are out on turkey.
Yeah,
but I think turkey's good.
And turkey always gets low.
Turkey's good if you don't. I mean, it can just be very easily botched. You overcook a turkey and it tastes awful. It tastes like paper. But if you cook a turkey well, it's really good. And especially the next day. I'll take a next day Thanksgiving sandwich over almost any holiday food.
It's true. The next day, all of the food, it gets to sit a little bit longer. It's really like collecting all of its flavor together in the refrigerator, and then you reheat it, and you just have like a mosh pit of food or a sandwich. Delicious. Mm-hmm. I did Thanksgiving for like 3 days, maybe 4.
Still have some left over. That's what you do. That's what you do. I don't even know how we got here.
You asked about my Thanksgiving, and I told you.
Okay,
it was a loaded question.
What were we going to talk about today? The winter meetings, right?
The winter meetings are coming up. Free agency, DJ LeMahieu article with a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like did you read the article?
I
Because
did
feel
read
like
the article. It was always
I
like,
feel-
yes, yes, yes.
I feel like I guess we could just briefly touch on that. But they talked the Athletic wrote an article and spoke with Dr. Deepak Chona,
Mm-hmm.
founder of Sports Meta Analytics and a Harvard and Stanford trained sports
Oh
surgeon.
yeah, my mentor.
And I'm just imagining like Scott impersonating a surgeon, giving all of this information while he's just Googling it, talking to an athletic writer. But there was a lot of good info in here. Basically, what I guess his injury is, it's a fracture to the sesamoid bone in the right big toe, which was caused by constant weight transfer during swinging. And oftentimes this is not picked up. And that's why they just didn't know what was wrong, I guess, or they knew his foot had a problem, but they didn't pick up the injury, which is classic Yankees.
Okay, so I actually do have some experience with this type of injury, I will say. Not me personally, but recently a buddy of mine who I played like rec sports with for years, he had something similar. I don't know if it was exactly the same, but it was something that had to do with
your buddy and his rec sports is exactly like
and the
DJ
toe. No,
LeMahieu.
hear me out. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
did he stub his toe?
It's essentially, yeah, it becomes a very painful version of turf toe, and there's something that happens, and what your flexion and your mobility in that side of your foot on the toe becomes limited. So the options he had, and it sounds very similar to what they're talking about with DJ, is you let it rest, you see how everything heals, and maybe you're good for there. The second option, and I don't know if it's this dramatic or his very well could be like a rec sports version of this, which means you just put the plate in. He has a plate. His option was to put a plate in his foot. And if he went that route, that was the only route that they could go if they went surgery. Then the flexion and the mobility of his foot becomes extremely limited. So he can't like go on his toes and you see the same like flexion point that you would with your toes, like just looking and you see how they bend. They don't bend like that anymore. So it actually does affect how he runs. He can still run, he can still do the things, but it changes the way that he moves, it changes the way his foot moves, and that's permanent. Like that's it. And that was why, and again, these are not exactly the same, but it's similar when you're thinking about, the way that they're weighing the options of no surgery and then surgery, because once you do the surgery and you fix it in that way, there's no coming back from that. Like that's what it is. So I do understand why they're waiting to see if a significant amount of rest helps it and can lead to a better long-term prognosis and outcome. But I'm just afraid that like it's delaying the inevitable, because it seems like it's been lingering, and that we're gonna hear in January, February that DJ is gonna have surgery. I'm just expecting that to happen.
So according to this surgeon that they talked to, though, there is kind of a large percentage risk that this, even with surgery, does not heal 100% to pre-surgery. He said 90% chance that this is, good to go pre-surgery, but 10% seems pretty high for a surgery when you're talking about having the athletic mobility of a pro athlete, right? Like 10% is not something I would want to gamble with.
Well, that's why they're not. That's exactly why.
So you're saying you're delaying the inevitable. You might be right, but when it's a 10%,
I'm afraid that that's what it is. But I'm not. I am not disputing them to wait either. Like you have to go through this waiting process to identify and see if the foot can heal itself. Because if it can, obviously that is the best outcome. Once you go into surgery, once you get in there and fix this, in the way that they are, that's more permanent. That's not natural, but whatever they're using to fix it. Then you can't come back from that. And that 10% mobility or flexion or whatever it is will not be there. And then he will just have to adjust based on the way that his foot is now operating with all of his mechanics. And as we've seen and as we've heard and read, like that foot is an integral piece of DJ's hitting mechanics and the way that he plays. So I think he can overcome it. I think that he can adapt to it, but it is something to definitely identify.
I mean, he was not a very good offensive player this year throughout the injury. So if that's what he's going to be, I mean, maybe he can be a little better, but that's not the DJ LeMahieu the Yankees need. So
but that's not what it's saying. I don't believe that's what it's saying. It's like the guy that we've seen is also there's a pain tolerance thing that's in play here, and the surgery should fix that. It's just what it does is it'll limit the mobility a little bit, so he'll have to adapt to it. But he shouldn't be playing through pain once it's fully healed at that point. And I mean, we're seeing a guy that's, dealing with discomfort, and that's severely affecting the way that he plays the game.
Right. But if he doesn't have the same mobility that he did before this happened, that's going to affect, I would imagine that would affect performance. I mean, I guess you'd adjust to it over time, and you'd figure out how to hit with this lesser mobility, or maybe a slightly different weight transfer or batting stance or whatever like that. But like, the bottom line is, this is a serious risk that DJ LeMahieu is not going to be as impactful as he can be in 2023.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I do expect, even if he does get surgery, I expect him to adapt to this and be okay. Like I think it'll marginally affect him once it's healed and once he's able to get out there.
They also cited something from Hal in this article that said if DJ is out for the season, they're going to go after another contact bat.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Why is that why does that have to happen? Like, why are those two things should not be, was it mutually exclusive, or
they're not mutually
whatever.
Exclusive. They should
go
get
another contact bat no matter
Just
what.
Sign Benintendi
right?
to play left field, please. Jesus Christ. I mean, why do we have to dick around and wait to see if LeMahieu, that is the exact thing that we don't want to do, is sit and wait while everybody else is getting nabbed and picked up and signed to other teams. And then we're dealing with, bottom of the barrel type players. We're going to go out there and get a David DeLucci type, like
David DeLucci.
Yeah, that's from the archives. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for that. To me, that sounds like a guy that owns a team and doesn't know baseball operations.
It's just like, I don't know if that's him appeasing fans or something, where
you did a poor job at appeasing fans by making a comment like that.
He's like acknowledging the fact that DJ is a contact bat and that would be good for the Yankees lineup. But then he's saying, it's like, okay, if we don't have that contact bat, then we'll just have to go get another contact bat. Like, that's just not how this is going to need to work out.
Hey, Hal, I have a question for you. What if that contact bat is in the lineup, but it's not as much of a contact bat anymore because of the limitations? What about then? How about
what if two contact bats could make the lineup better?
Yeah, right. Is it a problem to have more than contact bat?
You can only have one contact bat per 9. That's a new rule in baseball, right? Like the nerds. This is a nerd rule. You're only allowed one contact guy.
Especially that the shift, because the shift is, the lack of shift is definitely not going to affect that. Like a contact guy couldn't take advantage of that. Definitely don't want a guy who has more bat control, because at the end of the day, that's what that is. More bat control.
DJ isn't DJ one of the least shifted against players in Major League Baseball over the last few years?
Spray it.
So. Right. No. So, but what I'm saying is, we should see the shift not impact DJ as much as other guys.
No, but they also
the
have the ability to spray it, so they can take advantage of both situations. By default,
Rizzo.
Yes, the guys that are pull hitters will benefit because that's their one-trick ponies. But the guys who make contact can still benefit from this as well. There's less range.
We can make an argument that Rizzo becomes a much more contact guy without a shift, because he is going to benefit one of the most in the lineup. I think maybe most in Major League Baseball of not having the overshift on. Like his numbers last year, his batting average on balls in play was horrendous.
So that's an interesting conversation, and something that we should probably take a deeper dive on this in an episode by looking at some of the numbers and looking at like the BABIP and some of the guys who are making contact. But what is so you can go out and sign free agents. You can do the things to fit the mold of what you believe the game will be once the shift is gone. But who are the guys that have the ability to make the adjustments, and how many of these guys are actually going to say, okay, this is a real thing. I need to make adjustments in the way that
this isn't about, no, this isn't adjusting. This is telling players, you don't have to adjust. We're going to adjust to you.
Well, no, I don't agree with that, because if you're looking at 3 true outcomes, but also you can pull the ball and just hit line drives, and you've gone away from that because of the shift. Now you need to make that adjustment again and be able to make solid contact because it's a base hit. So now where is the value being weighed of that guy who launch angle, drilled it in, is just going for the right field, and it's a home run, it's a fly out, it's a strikeout, it's a walk. But now that same swing with a little bit of a level, with a little bit of an alteration, can be base hit, base hit, base hit. Do guys make that adjustment? Guys like Rizzo, you said he's much more of a contact hitter. Well, I mean, maybe the outcome is better, because he's doing the same thing and it's
Exactly.
just becoming an out, or it's becoming a base hit. But does he make an adjustment in the launch angle of his swing as well, because now he knows that is an open opportunity for him?
I see what you're saying. I think it'll be interesting. I'm sure the analytics departments are crunching the numbers and figuring out the best approach for players. But like, let's use Rizzo as an example. He's had his approach over the past couple of years when teams are shifting on him. He hit 32 home runs last year. He's hit around 30 home runs a handful of times in his career. And then he's not getting a lot of base hits. He had like a 220 batting average because his batting average on balls in play was so low because of the shift. He was hitting line drives and hard ground balls into the second base shift. Now, I'm sure the analytics can say, you do the exact same thing you did last year. Your batting average goes up 15 points or 18 points or something like that. And you're now hitting 240, which is still, it's not like, it still sounds crappy, but like that's a pretty big jump year over year going from 220 to 240. But you're still going to hit your 32 home runs. You're still going to walk the same amount. You do everything the same. You just add an extra 14 base hits or something like that.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum of how you can improve, right? Because of the the defense having those adjustments being forced upon them. Totally understand that. But I'm wondering, who are the guys that can take this to the next level and identify like a minor tweak in your swing that become, more of an on base guy, because this is available, because guys are looking at it and saying this base hit over the Mark Teixeira hit over second base is not available to me. So I can't swing that way. I have to do other things to either, match my production, to do the things that I need to do to be a productive hitter. But now with that being taken away, how many of these guys are going to make an adjustment and try to put bat to ball more consistently so that they can, use that open opportunity in right field or left field?
My guess is not a lot, because they didn't make the adjustment over the past decade with the shift to try and
they have.
Contact.
They've gone over the shift. Of course they have.
But they didn't make an adjustment to try and make more contact to hit to left field.
No, but they went over it. That's the adjustment was to go over it, not the other way. It was to go over it, not through it. Right?
But
that's
by
why
going
launch angle became such a prevalent.
I know that, but by trying to go over the shift, what is also a result is a lot of line drives and hard hit balls into the shift, because you're basically, if you're a left-handed hitter, you're just trying to pull the ball. So you're not going to always hit fly balls to right field. Sometimes you're going to hit line drives or ground balls to second base.
I understand what you're saying. We're saying the same thing. I want to know how many of these guys.
But what you're saying is maybe Rizzo or some other of these hitters that have been trying to go over the shift. I don't even know that necessarily Rizzo has been trying to go over the shift. If they say, all right, I can now just focus on hitting the ball through the middle. I think Freddie Freeman was
middle
quoted,
of the field approach. Middle of the field approach.
I think Freddie Freeman had a quote in an article when the shift rule was announced, that he was one of the guys talking about how his approach has not changed, but he's excited because this is going to benefit him, because he hits a lot of balls into that shift. He's a line drive hitter.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that tries to go over the shift. He's been trying to stay true to himself, but he hits a line drive back up the middle and the shortstop is standing there, fields it on one hop. Like that.
Those guys are going to instantly benefit.
I don't know if that, I was going to say that should be a base hit. I don't know if that's true. It's going to be a base hit in 2023. I don't know if it should be a base hit. Like, some people believe that should be a base hit. You hit a ball through the middle, you hit it over the pitcher's head, that should be a base hit. But it's also like, well, if the defense, whatever.
If you're being played there, yeah, then it's more about stacking. I think that's the larger. So with the shift, the imaginary line, like, do you just have a toe behind the line? Because there's been with the World Cup,
there's rules. You can't be on either side of second base, and you also have to have your. What does that mean?
You can't
feet,
be on either side. Like your toes, your feet.
The shortstop cannot be on the second base side of second base
at all.
Any
part of his body.
Yes, any part of his body. I'm assuming it's his feet. If he wants to put his left arm over there, but his feet on the other side, I'm sure
just saying,
it's okay.
like, are they going to be strapped? Yeah, are they going to be like? Because with the whole World Cup. Craze here. I'm learning more about offsides, and it's
offsides is big in World Cup.
Totally different than every other sport.
Soccer.
Just like soccer to completely make it different. But like, not any part of your body can be beyond the defender. Whereas in hockey, you can straddle the blue line.
Logan or Ilya, can you quickly look up what the rules state? I believe it's feet planted because your feet also have to be planted on the infield dirt when the pitch is thrown.
So are we going to get reviews of where people's feet were when the pitch was thrown? Is that what's?
Do you know what? Happen? Do you know what some sneaky teams might do? They might extend the infield dirt a little bit, cut it an extra 4 feet out. Anybody. Yeah, just every homestand, just move like another 7 inches out so you don't even notice. then all of a sudden, there's no outfield dirt. It's just right to the warning track. It's just a complete dirt field.
What's interesting though, that I know one of the rules is that you just have to have both feet on the correct side of second base, which means that if they want to shift a guy up the middle, they still can. Because if you have 1 foot to the side of second base, you're obviously fielding that ground ball up the middle, which is the one thing that when you talk to like old school baseball fans, it's like, oh, well, like base hit up the middle should be a base hit up the middle. Like it's still not going to be a base hit up the middle.
Well, but forever. I mean, you're still shifting.
But it's going to be,
but they're going to probably. I think they're probably going to have. I think they're going to. I don't know if they should. I think they're going to adjust the rule so that there's a little bit. You have to be further away from second base. You have to be closer to your primary.
But I don't know how you.
But also, if you put the shortstop essentially right on top of second base, you're still opening yourself up to the right side of the infield because you can only have the second baseman and the first baseman over there. Whereas a lot of times the shortstop would not. The shortstop wouldn't be next to second base. He would be a good amount towards the second baseman. So it would essentially be 2 second basemen. The third baseman would be playing shortstop. You can't do that anymore. You still I see what you're saying. A classic base hit up the middle is probably still going to be taken away, but there's going to be a lot more hits towards the middle of the field because of where these infielders
is the rule stating anything about third base and first base and how far over they can go? Because
they could be wherever they want.
Then this exact situation can still happen. It's just they're not going to be on the other side of second base. They will be directly up the middle.
But the first baseman has to be playing close enough to first base where he can field where he can catch the ball, right? Run to first base and catch the ball on an infield on a ground, right? So the first baseman,
the pitcher can also cover. But yes, the third baseman's still going to be playing.
The pitcher's not going to cover on a ground ball to shortstop.
No, but there's not going to be a ground ball to shortstop if everybody's over there. Then it won't matter. If everybody is the third baseman can still play in almost a true shortstop position
exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But then you're going to basically have 2 shortstops instead of 2 second basemen.
No, you're not, because you're going to have the shortstop up the middle. You're going to have it is.
You're going to just shift the right side, the left side over.
Shift. Just you're shifting traditionally as they've done for years and years and years and years and years. The shortstop goes up the middle. The second baseman goes up the middle, depending if it's a lefty or righty bat. And the first baseman's off the bag a good amount, enough where he can get back, yes. But then third baseman's well off the line. It's still going to happen. They're going to give you the opportunity. But the second
baseman can't play 20 feet out into right field.
Correct.
And then what was happening is the second baseman was playing a short right field, and the shortstop was playing an up the middle second base, and the third baseman was playing shortstop. You can't do that anymore.
No, the depth is going to be a bigger thing, I think, because the depth gives you the ability to take away a lot more.
Right. So
you hit the ball hard. That's you're going to see like guys hitting the ball hard. Like those are going to be base hits.
You're going to be rewarded for hitting the ball hard on the ground again,
for sure.
Which you were penalized for. Like one of the big things with Gary Sanchez was he was hitting the ball hard. he was hitting the ball hard, but it was ground balls to shortstop, and it's like he's going to get thrown out every single time.
Yeah.
Exit velocity 112 off the bat. Great. The shortstop
he's
fielded
thrown out by a larger distance.
So, is the shift one of the things? Like, it's kind of left my mind as like this is one of the big things we're going to see in 2023. But
it's significant. It is. It's going to affect how players, how their production is realized. Because I think we're going to see more. We're going to see more base runners. At the end of the day, we're going to see more base runners. And honestly, because of that, there is a trickle down effect here, I think, too. Because you're going to have more base runners, it's going to be even more difficult for them to shift within the bounds of the allowed shift, too. Because you're going to have guys on the base path, which means you're going to have to hold guys on. You're going to have to be accountable to those runners, to those bases. So I think it's really going to change it. And I don't think that side of it's getting as much notoriety and attention, but I think that's going to significantly change the way things are. It's going to affect the pitchers because you're going to have more runners on. You got to hold guys on, which is also going to be affected by the pitch count. So it's definitely going to change things. I think for the better, but it's going to change things.
So Jeff Passan wrote something pretty interesting about Judge this morning. But before we talk about that, I want to tell you guys about Athletic Greens. AG1 is a daily supplement that's meant to be drank every single day. It's packed with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Some of the many benefits are that it supports mental clarity and alertness. I've gotten into a routine. I used to be a guy that I would go downstairs first thing, start the coffee pot, right? I'm actually, before that, I'm even reaching for the Athletic Greens. As I'm drinking my Athletic Greens, the last couple sips, that's when I'm making my coffee. I never thought I would be a not coffee guy first.
Wow. My wife makes the coffee, which is amazing. You should try that. And so by the time I get into the kitchen, it's already
I should try. Hey, Leanne, go make the coffee. Yeah, I'll give
see what
that a
happens.
shot. I'll report back.
I mean, I took care of this early. So
I'm up first though. I'm up earlier than she is.
Okay. Well, it could be set the night before. You could do that too.
I don't have one of those machines.
Well, get one of those machines. They're
No, my machine makes coffee in 2 minutes. Everyone's shocked at how quickly my machine brews a pot of coffee.
You still have to get to the motion and make the coffee. You got to make the. You got to do
either way. You're doing it. You're doing it at night or you're doing it in the morning. You still have to pour the scoops in.
I will say this. Either way, the coffee's ready for me. I have a little bit of coffee. Gets me going. The AG1 is my drink. I used to go with like a seltzer water or something. Now it's AG1. AG1 is my like I throw it in. This is what I do. My now routine is coffee, 1 cup of coffee. That's all I need these days. And then I go AG1, shake the bottle, out the door, and I take it with me.
So Leanne has also been drinking it, and she's put some squeezed some lemon in it. I would recommend that. It's actually, I didn't think I was going to like it, but it adds a nice little zest to it. Not that it tastes good on its own anyway, but the little lemon zest is a nice little
lemon zest on many things. It adds to the flavor. I will say it's an extra step that I probably won't do, and I need to limit the amount of steps.
Well, just tell Bevan to do it. Say, hey, while you're making the coffee, slice me a couple lemons.
Then she's doing the AG1 too. Then there's fruit flies. A lot of things can happen. Trickle down effect for this as well.
Athletic Greens also promotes gut health with pre and probiotics. It gives you better sleep quality and recovery, and it boosts your energy. Each serving of AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial flavoring. It's also affordable, especially if you compare it. If you're going to go buy all of these vitamins and supplements and minerals, you're going to be spending a hell of a lot more than about $3 per serving. I also love it because it's easy. As you just mentioned, you put the scoop in and you shake it up. I don't have to worry about, okay, I got to take these 3 things. No, I'm getting all the good stuff in 1 scoop, 1 drink. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is trusted by athletes and health experts around the world. Go to athleticgreens.com/pinstripes for a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Again, athleticgreens.com/pinstripes. Thank you guys so much for whoever has already tried it and purchased it with our link. We've gotten some positive feedback from Athletic Greens, and that is greatly appreciated because these episodes are obviously free for you to listen. We've been doing it for 700 plus episodes. Scott and I, the only money we're making off of this from these ads like Athletic Greens, and anytime that a sponsor says, hey, nice job, that means you guys are going and buying the stuff. So it is very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
We do appreciate it. The vitamin D, essential. Also, don't forget it. It's essential for the winter months. Not getting.
We were just talking about how ghostly we look on this. It's like need some of that vitamin D supplement. So Jeff Passan wrote on ESPN Plus today that the Yankees have made a significant offer. They have a significant offer on the table to Judge in the neighborhood of 8 years, $300 million. And basically, they're just waiting to see if it's going to be a bidding war. And if the Giants or another team can match that or top that, then they will go over that. But this is a classic Brian Cashman Yankees move is here's our offer. Go out, get what you can, come back to us before you say yes to anything.
Right. Give us the first right of refusal, essentially. And if they did go 8 and 300, significant. What were the 2 contracts that we have both predicted for in our GM plans? Anybody have that? If not, let's check that out.
Scott's was 9 for 324, and Andrews was
mine was 8 for 281 with 35.2 million AAV, but it could go up with that if that vesting option kicked in. So
all right, so we got it surrounded. Like split the uprights there for what we're what they're offering. If it's 8 and 300, that's significant.
That's 38 million AAV. If it's 8 and 300, just round numbers, that's $37.5 million AAV.
Yeah, and I think that's probably higher than a lot of people thought they would go.
He would be the highest paid position player in baseball history for AAV. Yes. Higher than Trout, higher than Correa.
Yeah, interesting. So, and I mean, goddamn, he deserves it? He does. He deserves it. He went out there and proved it. So if that is an offer that is close to accurate, then good for the Yankees for putting up the dollars, and let's hope Judge, does play nicely with them in the sense that giving them the last opportunity. And you know what? If that's a real thing, and you're another team, and that's a real thing, like what are you doing at that point? Calling the bluff essentially, and trying to give them a shock number that says, well, goddamn, we can't do that. That's the only way to beat it, isn't it?
Based on rumors and stuff, it seems like the Giants are the only other competitor for Judge. Seems like the Dodgers are not going to really be in on him. There could always be a dark horse candidate that swoops in at the last minute and makes an offer you can't refuse, right? But if we're just saying it's going to be the Giants and the Yankees, what the Giants need to bank on if they really want him is appealing to Judge's hometown, that hometown thing, is that you're coming home. This is a homecoming for you. You were a fan of this organization growing up. We're going to make you a competitive offer, at least what the Yankees are offering, but we can't get in a bidding war. We're paying you fairly. You're 8 and 300, but you got to sign here and be, the hometown hero and not go back to the Yankees and have us come over the top because we just can't do it. I feel like the only way the Giants are going to win this.
I don't think that works anymore because he's been here for so long with this organization that he is the hometown hero now in a much more.
Yeah, I'm not saying that will work. I'm just saying, isn't that the play?
That would be a hometown discount, would it not? It would, because then whatever the offer is, in theory, the Yankees would either match or beat, and probably have to beat.
Unless the Giants say we'll guarantee you 9 years at that AAV, but you can't go back.
You're giving
to the
Yankees an opportunity to come back and do it again. If that
you say you can't go back. You can't go back to the Yankees.
Oh, you're just saying that this is it. You can't go back. Then again, Judge is not playing nice with the way that they're hoping the process will work.
He's not. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to play nice. He doesn't have to play nice. I mean, they didn't play nice with him last winter.
Here's the deal with that. Why would you accept that? You went to free agency for this reason and this reason only, to get the largest contract. So you're going in and they give you an ultimatum, 9 years, same AAV, we'll do it, but you can't go back. I would be like, no, and go to the Yankees with that, and they would either match or beat it if that's true to what they say. So you can't strong arm someone that is in a position like this with the largest piggy bank behind you and the willingness and ability to go over.
And the reality is, if the Giants are willing to go to 9 years, they're going to be willing to go maybe and match the Yankees' second offer as well. So I don't think they would even say that. I'm just trying to figure out a scenario in which the Giants win this in a bidding war with the Yankees. They're not going to win a straight bidding war with the Yankees, is my point. So It's going to have to be won some other way.
Yeah. So it just depends on what's important to Judge at that point.
Yep.
So this morning, after we started recording, friend of the pod, Andy Martino, also wrote an article. So I'm just going to read you this paragraph because it is kind of interesting. A little bit of nothing, but it kind of goes with what we're talking about. It appears that no one in the media knows exactly what the Yankees have offered Aaron Judge. In fact, I'm told that barely anyone in the Yankees organization has details either. But the vibe I'm catching is that he's soon to become another Sabathia or Cole. It would be a mild surprise if this doesn't wrap up by the end of next week's winter meetings, the time frame when those other two players have signed. He talked about CC's about how Hal decides every once in a while to put the blinders on, bear down, and get the particular target regardless of the cost.
So are we believing Passan, who says there's an 8-year 300? Or are we believing Martino, who's saying maybe the Yankees have discussed an 8-year 300, but that's not an official offer yet?
Well, that's not what Martino said. He just said that nobody knows what they offered him. They know that there's an offer on the table. That's
Passan might have inside information that it's 8 and 3. So another interesting thing that we were talking about from this Passan article is that only twice in history has the highest free agent of the winter been re-signed by the same team. It happened with the Mets and Cespedes and the Rockies and Holiday. Otherwise, the highest free agents have all gone to other teams. So other teams have made the highest offer to the free agents. And the ones that are listed here are Corey Seager, George Springer, Garrett Cole, Bryce Harper, Eric Hosmer, David Price, Max Scherzer, Robinson Cano, Zach Greinke, Albert Pujols, Carl Crawford. All of those are, I guess, I know. All of those are the recent. I mean, fucking Eric Hosmer was the highest paid free agent one off season. Holy shit!
The Padres decided like, oh, we're going to start spending a fuck ton of money.
So like, but all of those guys left for other organizations. I don't know what that means necessarily. That I don't know. What do you make of that?
I don't know what you can make of that beyond the fact that the value of them is seen. And I understand this. The value of a superstar when you go to a different place is higher because now it's new. Now there's a lot of incremental revenue that's coming in because this person is signed. Whereas incremental revenue for a guy like Judge, like it'll be significant because he's a Yankee, but they've already seen what that is as well, right? So they do know what they're getting. So I think when you go to another franchise, you're changing jerseys, you're putting more butts in seats, you're changing the narrative of the team. There's a lot of things that are involved. So you can in theory put a lot more dollars behind that. But if the Yankees identify that and know what this guy is to the organization, that's not going to work with this. It's probably getting too expensive for something like that. And again, you're then flirting with danger if you're another team because you know damn well that the Yankees are going to put up. And especially if Hal is saying, if the media is starting to say that this is one of those things where he's not going to get outbid, and if you're the other team and the other GM and the other owners and you believe that, you're dead in the water.
Right. I guess you could, as an owner, you're saying the revenue impact of signing Judge, if you're the Giants, is greater to the Giants than the revenue impact to the Yankees of re-signing Judge.
Yes. And this is what we talked about the last time. This is why I brought up this number, the delta between what would be offered by the Yankees and then, whatever the biggest offer he can get on the market. Look at that delta. Is that delta going to be made up over the term of the contract? Yes. Is that delta going to be made up over the first 3 to 4 years of the contract, even without a World Series? Probably. So
right, because the Giants can sell.
They almost can't get outbid because I don't think that delta is going to be worth it for them when you go a different way.
Like the Giants, if you're saying this, we're going to make up this extra year in season ticket sales this winter.
Right. Well, the Yankees are saying the same thing. Okay, 9 years. We're already spending this money. What's the difference?
No, but we just said the revenue impact to the Yankees is less because Judge is already a Yankee. So a lot of fans, obviously we all want Judge to be re-signed, but that's status quo. You're bringing back Aaron Judge. You're not acquiring Aaron Judge.
Here's the difference. The Yankees can look at this over a longer term, whereas a new team is getting a bump. They're getting that initial spike. They're getting that initial bump of interest of again, like hope of all these things. Whereas the Yankees are looking at the contract and now the camera's focusing in so.
That was very dramatic. That was perfect timing. If you guys are watching on YouTube, Scott's hand motioning. He's got a fancy camera and he did the secret symbol and the camera zoomed in right as he was about to make an awesome point. And it threw him for a loop, and now we don't know what he was going to say, and we're never going to know what he was going to say.
It's just going to keep going back and forth. So the delta for the Yankees, I'm having technical problems here, big time. If the delta for the Yankees,
just stop looking at yourself,
is going to be over a longer period of time to make up, and that's why I think you can't make an offer big enough that the Yankees can't justify.
So, yeah, I think I. To be honest, I wasn't listening to what you were just saying. We're going to talk about some, I guess plan B options the Yankees have, or what they're going to do if they don't sign Judge on the free agent market, or what they're going to do in addition to signing Judge on the free agent market. Obviously, we did this in our GM episode, but this is going to be more about the options that are out there and going in depth on who could be a good fit and what those impacts would be. But Buster Olney is reporting that the Yankees have a plan B. And it's going to be to pivot to the shortstop market, which to me makes no sense. If your plan A is sign Aaron Judge, but plan B is sign a shortstop, how does that make sense? Because if you think you need a shortstop, then sign a shortstop. If you don't think you need a shortstop, whether you need a shortstop should not matter if you have Judge or not, right?
I don't think it's the necessity factor is what they're looking at. They're looking at superstar factor and where can you get a superstar right now? And it's at the shortstop position. That's what I think.
That's completely short-sighted because there's so many out. So if you don't sign Judge, then you obviously need
that answer. What you just got is a Jacoby Ellsbury solution.
Exactly. But so if you sign Judge and don't acquire a shortstop, then the Yankees have confidence that one of the kids is going to be the next shortstop of the Yankees. But if they don't sign Judge, then they're no longer confident, or they're not confident enough either way. And they're like, screw it. We need to blind people of the fact that Aaron Judge is a San Francisco Giant, and we need to go get one of these free agent shortstops to throw everyone off the scent, to have a shiny object for people to come to opening day to watch.
No, no, I don't think that's it. What they're trying to do in theory, what we're looking at is them trying to get the production of what Judge is. And if you're looking at the available options, if you're looking at just production, it's heavy on the shortstop side. That's what I'm saying. I think that they're looking at where can I replace the production of an Aaron Judge? And right now with the free agent class where it stands, the best way to do that is at shortstop.
Yeah.
So, and maybe at that point,
I do agree with that.
Looking at shifting one of the younger guys to a different position as you have,
or trading them. I mean, Correa, Turner, Bogart, Swanson. Yes, these are some of the best players on the free agent market for any position. So you can obviously not replace all of Aaron Judge's production, but if you sign one of those shortstop and you sign Andrew Benintendi and maybe even another outfielder, then combined you're getting the production plus.
Yeah, and I think that's it. They have to look at how do they replace the production, and for them to replace the production, shortstop essentially has to be a part of the equation because of
it's just to me that would be pretty wild because on the one hand you're admitting maybe they're not confident in their future at shortstop, but it's like on the one hand they're like, I don't know. To me, it should not have any bearing on if you want a shortstop, go get a shortstop. If you don't want a shortstop, then not signing Aaron Judge shouldn't mean you got to go out and sign a shortstop.
Maybe
let's talk about the outfielders
real quick. Maybe this was just fate for the zooming in on my face, because now you can see the Jedi Judge very clearly in my background.
I got a Jedi Judge too.
Yeah, but he's now on my shoulder, like very clearly. And I'm wondering if that was just the sign of
he's now on my shoulder too.
Good. See, you're forcing it though.
I've got a Judge back here. I've got two Judges. What are we gonna do with all these Judge bobbleheads if he's not a Yankee next year? I'm gonna give away my Judge bobbleheads. If Aaron Judge signs elsewhere, I'm gonna give away my Judge bobbleheads. Remember, I gave away the Gleyber Torres bobblehead, and it briefly revived his season.
We don't want to revive Judge's season because we're gonna see him batting leadoff on opening day.
But I don't want to look at them every day and be reminded of the fact that the Yankees didn't sign Aaron Judge. All right, outfielders.
It's like the best bobblehead that's ever been made, to be honest.
The Judge Jedi?
Yeah, it's up there.
That was like 2017 or 2018 Star Wars night.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it actually kind of looks like him, which doesn't happen
very
often.
It doesn't have the new teeth.
That's the beauty of it.
I might put white out on the gap to
just to respect his wishes to have the gap closed.
Yeah.
Only if he signs. Only if he signs.
Only if he signs,
Guess
I'll
what,
white
Aaron?
out the gap.
The gap stays. The gap stays.
So outfielders, obviously we both wanted to sign Andrew Benintendi in our outfield plans, but Heyman and others are reporting that the Yankees are looking to add multiple outfielders, not just Judge. The options out there on the market, there's a lot of good outfielders. Brandon Nimmo, Andrew Benintendi, Michael Conforto, Cody Bellinger are the top free agent options. We don't need to go in depth about Benintendi because we know what kind of fit he would be, but Nimmo is very interesting. MLB Trade Rumors predicts he's going to get 5 and 110, which is a 22 million AAV. He in 2022 had 5.1 WAR, / 274, 367, 433, and 800 OPS. He's basically Andrew Benintendi, just slightly fewer base hits and more power.
A lot more annoying. A lot more annoying. Okay. Highly punchable face. But
so no, you don't want Nimmo.
The one thing I'll say about Nimmo that he is a catalyst. Like he brings a lot of energy, so it could be a good thing for this team. Looking at him across town though, he's a guy that gets under my skin a little bit. If he's on my team, then I certainly have different feelings. He's a big energy guy. He plays hard, and he's been productive. So I think it would be a good option. It would also be, anytime you can sign someone else who's a productive player from the other borough, like that's a good thing for the fan bases.
If we're saying Nimmo is a slightly better player than Andrew Benintendi, I agree with that, but I would much rather have Andrew Benintendi at 4-54 than Nimmo at 5-110.
Yeah, if the 4-54 is actually a true number, because if Nimmo's getting what you just said, then Benintendi's going to get more than that. Why wouldn't?
Well, these are both what MLB Trade Rumors predicts.
I don't understand. So the numbers. This was part of a little bit of a disconnect when we were doing our GM plans. Is that it's really hard to gauge what Benintendi's going to get on the market right now based on his production, his what he's gotten in the past, his health concerns. He's a difficult one to peg, I think. But if Nimmo, who plays same position, is as high as he is, then I got to believe Benintendi's going to get much closer to that.
I had in my original plans for Benintendi at 5-85, which is 17 million AAV, which is closer to what Fangraphs was projecting his contract to be, which is still a bit less than Nimmo, same amount of years, but less AAV. Would you 5-110 for Nimmo or 5-85 for Benintendi? What do you think is a better option in that case?
I mean, I think they're both good fits for the team. What's Nimmo's like strikeout rate? It's the one thing I don't. What's his OBP compared to?
Well, his OBP career is 385. It's a very good OBP, and it's higher than Benintendi's 351. But Benintendi had a couple of down seasons, over the past 7 years, whereas Nimmo's been a really solid player during that whole time. If we're looking at if we could say the Yankees are acquiring the first half version of Andrew Benintendi, which was like a 320 hitter, no power or anything, but a 370, 380 on base percentage with Gold Glove caliber elite left field defense, a low strikeout rate. That is the prototypical contact hitter that Hal Steinbrenner is talking about adding.
Yes, that's true. But also Benintendi is too. So, I mean, the question is the contract, right?
I was just talking about Benintendi.
Oh, okay. Do we care about the contract? 17.2%. Ilya just put in 17.2% strikeout rate in 2022 for Nimmo. They're both. That's very low. It's good. I'll take that all day long. So, it's better than
Benintendi's was like 13 or 14%, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're both. I mean, Benintendi's phenomenal. They both have injury concern. Honestly, I would be very happy with.
You asked, do we care about the contract? Yeah, I mean,
no.
I don't like just
close.
throwing out the.
But it's too close. I think it's too close when you go AAV. It's close enough for it to
be
fine.
But if it's 4 or 5 million difference in AAV, that's another player. If we're talking about them staying under thresholds.
Okay. I want
that's a bullpen arm. That's a bullpen arm that you can add.
Okay, find another bullpen arm that's cheaper. Cool. Because that they know how to do that. That's like the one thing that they can do. Do that. Do that instead of signing the guy for $5 million. But I will say this.
Or it's adding that AAV to Judge's contract to get him to sign. And then you sign Benintendi at 17 million AAV, and they can say, okay, we'll pay Judge 38 million AAV plus Benintendi 17 AAV. We're not going to pay Judge 38 plus Nimmo's 22.
It has nothing to do with Judge. Judge is going to sign for whatever he is. If they believe that Nimmo is the better player, they better goddamn sign Nimmo. Bottom line, like that's it. If it's a difference between $4 and $5 million, if they believe that he is the better player, there should not be a sacrifice for that dollar amount. I'm sorry, there should not be. That if he is the better player, the better fit for this organization, and he's a similar fit as far as a profile for a hitter. I think he's more athletic. He's definitely more aggressive on the base path. The OBP is great. Like I think this is a good thing, but this is not an alternative to Judge. Like this is an addition, and they still need a left fielder. So it's part of the game. If Judge didn't sign, part of it, They have to sign probably one of these two guys, plus more. But this is a complementary piece. This is a guy that fits the organization, fits the lineup nicely, fits what they're trying to do. So if they believe that Nimmo is the better player than Benintendi, and they like him better, then they should absolutely sign him for whatever the difference is. I don't think it's big enough for them to be deterred from signing him.
I want no part of Michael Conforto. And what happened to Cody Bellinger? Like, why? Like, I know he's been struggling
for the
recently.
Player that he was, man. He hit a lot of home. He's a Joey Gallo.
No,
type.
something had to have happened. I mean,
he strikes out a fuck ton.
I think I might. I've had this thing because I've always liked Cody Bellinger. So he was really good in 2017, right? He came up first baseman, awesome. And then that was 2017. 2018 he wasn't good. And then that was the first year they were moving him around. They put him in center field, right field. I'm making sure I have the years right. I think 2019 they moved him to right field and said, all right, listen, you're gonna be our right fielder. Go get him. And he won an MVP. And then they got Mookie Betts and they said, all right, we're gonna move you around again. And then he stunk. And then they said, we're gonna move you around again. And then he stunk. I think he's a guy that just needs like status quo. Not that that's a complete fix, but
so
that's
he just
what
needs
I've
to
leaned into.
Be in a position and not be moved around. Like,
we've seen that before. Look at Glaber.
That seems odd, though. It's like you go from MVP caliber offensive player to, I mean, barely above league average.
That might have been Harold Reynolds' take on MLB Network, Scott, because I know. You're muted.
Scott, we can't hear you.
Awesome. I'm muting myself because there's a vacuum happening outside my door here. I think it's it's also like league caught up to a guy as well. I think it's a lot of that too, because his swing has a lot of holes in it. And I think that he's being pitched to differently, and he's just kind of been exposed for the player that he is. And I want nothing to do with him. Nothing.
And then the shortstops, which is plan B if Judge doesn't sign, obviously Correa, Turner, Bogart, Swanson. Dansby Swanson is someone who's in my offseason plans. I think he fits this team both defensively and offensively, but especially defensively. I honestly don't see them getting one of these shortstops, though. Pitching, though, is definitely going to be something that's interesting because between Verlander, Rodon, DeGrom, I feel like they could be in on one of these starting pitchers.
The AV for one of these guys, I mean, we're going to be well over the top threshold.
You want to talk about a plan B if Judge doesn't sign some of these pitchers.
Okay, then yeah, maybe that's the case. Then they'll load up on a bunch of guys that can get on base, play the odds in that point, and then
sign Benintendi and sign some pitching. I mean, I'm not saying that's what I want them to do, but
if they sign one of those guys, just fully expect them to not play in the regular season as much as we want them to. And I'm totally fine with that, because what it's become is get to the postseason, strap your arms up, make sure they're ready to go and healthy and ready to go, and make sure that you have guys that can make contact and score some runs, get some traffic on the base paths, as Aaron Boone loves, and play your odds with some horses that are throwing the ball. That's what you do.
Yeah. Get to the tournament. Yep. I hate that that's what it's become, because that makes a 6-month regular season, and we're talking about them 2-3 times a week. It's like,
maybe that you have to a little bit if you just come to that realization.
Because that's boring podcast, right? Like, if all we say is, it doesn't matter, we'll see you in October. It's like, okay, then we don't have to do any episodes.
Matter, but the highs and lows can be a little bit more even keeled.
Sure. I feel like they have been the last couple of years for me anyway, because
you have a kid now.
I have other things going on. but I still wish the regular season mattered more.
Oh, so do I. It's fun. It still matters, but after the All-Star break.
Yeah. It matters as long as you're not bottom half of the league. You got to be top half of the league instead of top quarter of the league.
You got to be in a position to make a move.
A couple of other quick items before we wrap up. The Astros signed Jose Abreu to 3 years and $58.5 million. This dude can still mash. He is definitely an upgrade over stupid hair, Gurriel. So that is upgrades the Astros lineup. Miguel Cabrera plans to retire after the 2023 season. I feel like he's leaving money on the table too, because I thought his contract went for another couple of years. Nestor Cortez is going to pitch for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Did you know the World Baseball Classic is coming up this spring training? I forgot about that. We got the WBC this spring.
I'm excited for it because I think it's a lot of fun.
And
World Cup is like a primer for this. I like it.
Mattingly
this next piece I hate. Go ahead.
Mattingly hired as the Toronto bench coach. Explain why you hate it.
Because I love Mattingly. I absolutely love Mattingly, and I hate the fact that he's going to be in an opposing dugout for the Toronto Blue Jays. It pisses me off. Take care of your guys. Sign your guys. He's going to get look, rightfully so. He's going to get inducted.
He's going to get another manager job.
He's also going to get inducted to the Hall of Fame as a New York Yankee by the committee. It's going to happen. He deserves it, and it's actually a travesty in the way that he's treated. I think we're going to see some of these other Yankees from the 90s also treated in this way, made right.
So do you think the Yankees should have brought him in on the coaching staff?
Of course I think he should have come in. Honestly, yeah, I would love for him to replace the jackass that's leading the helm right now, but that's not happening because he's a very good baseball guy. He's a smart baseball guy. He did things with the Marlins that should never have happened as early as they did. And like, I understand there were some bad points there, but I think he's a very good baseball guy. And
I don't think he's a Cashman guy though.
Well, because of that, I think that he should
be part
of this organization.
I don't think Cashman would ever bring him in because, as we've been researching this Cashman episode, Cashman was a kid when Don Mattingly was with the organization. So I'm sure he looked up to Mattingly as like a heroic, player figure, right? Like, I don't think Mattingly would ever take orders from Brian Cashman.
I don't think that's true. Mattingly took orders from Derek Jeter. I mean, he's like
Derek Jeter's a legend.
I understand that, but it doesn't matter at this point. Like, he's a grown ass man. He's an older adult that stuff doesn't come into play. I mean, it shouldn't, and I don't think it does with him. He knows the situation. Like, that has nothing to do with it. I mean,
if you're saying shaking up the coaching staff,
you're discrediting the way that he goes about his business. And I don't appreciate that.
What if Cashman wouldn't want to bring him in for one? I mean, they probably never even had.
That's a different thing, and maybe there's pettiness on Cashman's side, which I could see happening.
Yeah,
maybe.
All right, anything else you want to touch on?
Threat.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that he won't just listen to him, right? Like, Cashman wants a guy, wants a coaching staff, a manager that's going to just take orders.
Well, maybe he shouldn't want that anymore because it hasn't worked. So maybe he shouldn't want that anymore. Maybe he should go, look what, I mean, yes, the talent was there, but Dusty Baker just won the World Series. I mean, I don't know what else you need to say. Dusty Baker, just the prototypical dinosaur manager, just won the World Series. So now what? The nerds, you know what I think? Here's my conspiracy theory. I think that the shift is actually just a long con so that the analytics departments can justify themselves because now something's different. Got to get some new numbers. Got to crunch the numbers. Got to start pushing the calculators. Got to start
change the rules every 7 years to have the analytics
justify
department do something new.
30 jobs in the organization that could be done by 3 nerds.
Do you think they have like remember in that Facebook movie where they had I think it was called like a hackathon where they had to race to do something, crunchathon. You think they have a number crunchathon?
We need a new statistic.
Right. Who can come?
No one's sleeping.
Come up with a new stat the fastest.
You see Brian? He's out there in a sleeping bag on the street. You think you're going to sleep? No, I think it's the same day actually. He's a distraction. Look over here. Look at me. Meanwhile, in a warehouse somewhere in the Bronx, there's like 30 nerds just crunching numbers, looking for a new statistic with a new acronym so that they can justify themselves.
A new statistic that says Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is a top 7 defensive shortstop. All right, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk to you again next week, and maybe there'll be something exciting to talk about from the winter meetings.